Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking 尖 related character. And now we have 尖 next to 歹. This 歹 means almost like bad luck, something bad happened to you. And when we have this 尖, that means small pieces, very small, that cut up by double X's. Does it mean small bad luck? Well, it actually means damaged. 残. So when we look at 2,000 years ago's Xu Shen's recording of this character, this 尖 double axis is the same. The left side here, this dai character, is made of a bone symbol over here. This big column thing looks like a bone, and this horizontal line almost like the joint of the bone. And then we have this one vertical line with horizontal line, this attachment. By itself, it means fortune telling. And fortune telling in ancient times came from reading the cracks on bones, because I guess ancient times, people just like today, that we want to know what's going to happen before it happens. We want to be able to predict, right? So that fortune telling need was constant. And the ancient times, I guess big data was not a thing back then. So people try to get clues from what's going to happen by reading supposedly random things. And that random things, in this case, cracks on bones, would be a whole system of predicting of the different way of cracks may mean different things going to happen. So this bone cracks together, then that means the way things are not looking good. So I guess when we fortune tell, when we see the bone cracks, the cracks on the bone itself give you the sense of things are broken, things are came with cracks in it. It's not a integrity, things of integrity, some things of one solid piece. There are already some cracks in it. It's no longer in its perfect form. So this way, 歹 means it's not going to be good. Something is going to, even if it's not broken yet, when you see the cracks, you kind of know it's going to broken down someday. So that's the sense of 歹 is not good, right? Bone cracks. And then when I pair it with smaller chunks, we can read it as the double axe chopping something up into smaller pieces. When I put it next to bones with cracks, both the motion and the status of the bone point to something that's not in its original form, original volume, original perfection anymore. It's damaged. All right. 身残志坚. Okay, 身残志坚was such a common term when I grew up in China. Whenever, I mean, the propaganda machine was trying to give you a sense of, okay, you want to develop a like stronger will. You want to will through toughness in life. They use this imagery of 身残志坚, or example of 身残志坚, meaning the contrast of your body is damaged. So that's a Chinese way to say somebody's disabled in whatever way. And then 志坚, your will is still solid, firm. You still have tough will. this contrast of your mental versus your physical status. It's almost like the more you are disadvantaged on your physical front, 身残, the more it requires you have a stronger willpower. That's the logic of the dynamics between the mental and the physical conditions. So it almost used in the context of to prompt people who are regular-bodied, able-bodied, even if they're not disadvantaged in terms of their physical integrity, this, stronger will is still called for. Like, you want to have a stronger will. Look at those unfortunate people who are disabled. They have this strong will to survive life. Like, people regular as you should, the logic would be even more so. So 身残志坚 often pair together and use that way as, I guess, getting people into action to be more tough, endure hardship, things like that. Okay, 苟延残喘. This is a way of Chinese to describe, if it's on an individual level, it means somebody whose prime years is gone. They're probably in their last decade in today's longevity framework. That 苟延, 苟 here means not optimal. It's kind of baseline living. You're not really aspiring to be better. You're just kind of hanging on there. And yan means continue, like you want to sustain your life, live longer, and you're just barely there, like hanging on there, right? And 残, like damaged, 喘, breathing. So it describes on an individual level, like you still have your breath. You're not dead, but it's just to prolong a life that no longer have the vitality much to it because it's so damaged in its breathing and it's so barely been there. Like the power, the willpower we talked about, the 志坚, it's gone. Like you no longer try to be better, stronger, to grow in another way, that you already stopped growing. You're actually on the trajectory of dying, but you're not dead yet. You still have that damaged breathing, and then you just hanging on there to extend, prolong the life. So that's individual level, 苟延残喘. And oftentimes they also use it in a political struggle as well, used on the enemy of the country or the party. Oftentimes the Chinese Communist Party was used as 苟延残喘 on its opponent, which was 国民党, now in Taiwan. So when they had that internal war time from 1945, the surrender of Japanese occupation, and then the two internal parties, the Chinese against Chinese fight. So now the winner of the Communist Party would later in their history books to describe the 国民党, I don't know the abbreviation in English, but the Taiwanese, nowadays the government over there, was one of the parties came from the defeated part of 国民党, and CCP would describe their opponent as 苟延残喘 in those 4 last days. So they're kind of a military on retreat, probably financially broken as well. They're just on their last breath. That's on a different level. You can use both on individual or your political struggle. All right, 残花败柳. Here, damaged flower and failed. Or here, the 败 doesn't even if Chinese use bai a lot of time as success versus failure. So this is the failure. But bai also here means it's not, again, past the prime, not the best glorious days of this plant, willow. So Chinese use a flower, and willow specifically means, I guess, a sexual attractiveness. Oftentimes it's associated with prostitution. In China back then, that this literature people who often would be patrons back then would, I guess, euphemism often describe women of society back then that they have access to. Otherwise, regular women in an ancient society would be locked away, like they're not showing in public at all. So their access to female would be going to such prostitution houses, and they would be used this flower and willow as a representation of them. So eventually, even if it may not be referring to them anymore, but this would be female attractiveness in general. And 残花败柳, both words carry this negative tone of these are damaged flowers and already post-prime willow, to describe women who is not on their best luck in their prime years anymore. And this is quite a derogatory term. And 残花败柳, I don't recall seeing them that often because it's such a strong judgment on it, simply judging women by their looks, and also using a very association with prostitution, right? So use a very negative term related to, I guess, a not respectable profession back then. And this, whoever used this phrase would be very cautioned to describe it in a context that would justify the use of that. So here we have damaged, 残, and oftentimes, as we know, like this is not talking about things got damaged. This is talking about humans get damaged somehow. All right, thank you for your time. See you another day.